Well, we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to try to brew a peanut butter and jelly brown ale. So we'll see how that turns out. Stick with us. Hey guys, Matt here, Wreck Brewery. It's been a minute, and this one's been a long time coming. This is a beer that I brewed back in July. It's now October, and I've been wanting to put together this grain to glass video, just life got ahead of me. And well, here we are, and we're going to start making some videos again. Got plenty of experiment beers to actually get going here pretty soon too, so hopefully they can come in short succession after this. But yeah, I'm going to show you some of the brewing footage. I didn't take a whole lot of it. We're going to run through that now, and then when we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about this. So see you soon. All right, this is going to be the grain bill. It's all milled up already. Got some flake wheat on the top there, everything else crushed. And we're going to go ahead and get that into the mesh tun. It's a brew day today. We're going to do we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to try to brew a peanut butter and jelly brown ale. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, got everything in the mash tun. Sprinkle the salts on the top. And we are now underletting from the HLT. We got to deliver 4.5 gallons in there. And just got our little clip there. We're just bringing it down to that point. Already at our strike temperature of 163, so once everything is delivered here and mixed in, should balance us out to the mash temperature we're aiming for, which is at about 152. So back in a minute. All right, we're at the boil. Just cranked her down to the 55% that I typically do. And we got a little bit of a lineup here. I'll just tell you about it real quick, but first let's go ahead and dump in our 60-minute edition, which is a ½ an ounce of Magnum. Alright, get that going in there. And then we also going to have here, we're going to have ½ ounce of Saaz. I'll use up the rest of the Saaz I have in the fridge. For 30 minutes, I'm going to do the yeast nutrient and World Flock tablet at the end, of course. And what we're going to try to do for this beer to make it a peanut butter and jelly beer, I'm going to try this PB2. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Probably going to put half of this in the boil, at the end of the boil. So that's, what is that? That's 16 ounces, so it's about a pound. Yeah, and then I have this raspberry flavoring. Not quite sure how much I'm going to use on that yet. Maybe just an ounce. I'm going to start off small and go from there. That'll be done at kegging to kind of get the raspberry jam flavor. So raspberry jelly, peanut butter. Could be a complete dump. Could be a success. Only one way to find out. Alright, we've got 30 minutes left on the clock. We're going to go ahead and add it in the Saaz. Boom. And as you can see, I already got the PB2 measured out. It's half of that container, 16 ounces. So we'll drop that in shortly. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left into the boil, so we're going to, well, I got some work here. I'm going to try to put this in there. It's very humid here, so hopefully this doesn't stick. But I will have to mix this in. As a matter of fact, I may want to get my spoon, start mixing that in now. This doesn't clump all up in here. Very peanut buttery. Oh yeah, I really smell that peanut butter. Yeah, I didn't want to put the whole container in here. I figure I'll start with half. Yeah, it has a very peanut buttery scent to it, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and put in the rest here. We have our World Flock tablet and our yeast nutrient, which the yeast nutrient is clumping up on me here. You can see how humid it is. Look at that. I don't know, I might Yeah, you can see that yeast nutrient, I don't know, it's already, look at that, just from sitting out here for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so when I measure everything out. I might take a new spoonful of that. Like I said, it's very humid out here today. Well, it's been pretty humid out for the last couple weeks. Gotta love the south. I'm actually gonna have to buy, I think, some new yeast nutrient because this stuff is pretty well clumping up here. So probably gonna have to get some new yeast nutrient. Look at that. Oh, gotta love it. Alright, yeah, trying to do all this one-handed. I do have a GoPro now, and I need to start fooling with it. Maybe we'll do a GoPro brew day next time. You guys get a better view there. Alright, I think that's pretty well mixed in now. Yeah, I can definitely smell the peanut butter notes in here and some of the, I don't know, dare I say, some chocolatey notes, even though there's not really a lot of chocolate in this. But yeah, should be interesting experiment here. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, we're now transferring. I took a refractometer reading. It's a 1053, which is what the recipe calls for. So, assuming that's accurate, I hit the numbers dead on. Now I couldn't only get the kettle down to 95, so like I said, it's pretty hot here, and groundwater is not the best. So we did get it down to 80 going in here, which is fine. It'll start off a little warmer than I like. I do have the fermentation chamber set to 70. I am using the US-05 this time around, and that does call for 64 to 78.8. So it'll be fine if I pitch it a little warmer. Yeah, and then we'll just kind of roll with it around the 70, low 70s in the fermentation chamber. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this finished transferred, and we'll button it up. All right, there we are, all tucked away. In the fermenter, it is set currently to 81 degrees, so definitely past the upper end where I want to be. So I have the ferment chamber set to 60. And I'll let it kind of chill out here for a couple hours. It should bring it down into the 70s, and then we'll go ahead and level it off at a decent fermentation range. Like I said, the yeast can handle 64 to looks like 78. So I'll probably pick a happy medium, and we'll call it a day. This is the next morning, and we have some activity. Okay, we are now transferring the peanut butter and jelly beer. I put half this bottle. This is the Apex raspberry flavoring. It smells just like raspberry jam, so hopefully this will come all across. I could smell the beer as it was going in. Definitely still smell a little bit of the peanut butter. So here's hoping the peanut butter and jelly come through in the final product. All right. Here it is. Now, in fairness, I poured this probably, I don't know, 5-10 minutes ago. So it did have a nice head on it when I poured it, but then again, this is coming out of the tap, so it's going to well carbonated in my kegerator. But I mean, even after 5-10 minutes, there's a little bit of a cap kind of hanging on there, which is good. It's got a nice visual to it. We'll talk about that first. This is a brown ale first. That's the base of this beer. It's kind of inspired by the Catawba Brewing, they're out of Asheville, which is kind of sort of local to me. They're about an hour and a half away. They have a beer there they call Peanut Butter Jelly Time. I called this the same thing. I guess I could have called it like Tar and Dance or something like that. Kind of a little bit of a wow plug there. But that's kind of was my inspiration with this. That beer was really good. I've had it a couple of times when I was in Nashville, and it just reminds me of drinking peanut butter and jelly sandwich out of a glass. And I was like, well, that'd be kind of cool to try that. I mean, we're home brewers. We can kind of push the envelope a little bit and see what we're capable of. So I figured I'd try it with this one. And I have had this a couple times in fairness, so I do know what to expect, but it does have some age on it now, and it's been in the keg for, so I guess it's been a little over 3 months, because it is the end of October. So talking about this a little bit is, again, a brown ale base. I mean, you can see through it mostly. It is dark, so you know, it is clear, of course, but it is dark because it's a very brown ale with the grains that I put in it. The grain bill that I did on this one, I tried to simulate what Catawba has on their website. They have they've really put out a lot of their recipe. They don't give you any quantities or any percentages or anything like that. You kind of have to guess. So I just took what I had as my local malts from Carolina Malt House for my malts that I thought was appropriate for this. And I did use similar hops. I think in their beer they use, if I'm not mistaken, it's Magnum and Fuggles. And I believe that the Magnum is probably for the bittering. It's kind of a bittering hop, and they probably have Fuggles later on. So what I did was I used Magnum as my bittering, and I used Saaz in the end of this. The grain bill on this one, I gotta use my notes because it's been a while, I don't remember quite. Mostly Carolina malt. I have their Carolina Gold 2-row in here. I have their dark Munich to give it the color. I have some flaked wheat in here. I have chocolate rye, some Victory, and I think I used the rest of my Special X. I just kind of threw that in there because I had a little bit left of it. What kind of gives it the peanut butter and jelly, the Catawba Brewing beer, what they've done is when they make it, they age it for weeks on dry roasted peanuts and on a raspberry jam, or maybe a raspberry puree, or even fresh raspberries. I'm not 100% sure on that. I tried to simulate that a little bit. I don't have that that ability. So what I did was I used, I've heard really good things about it. I used PB2 in this to get the peanut butter aspect of it, and I used the Apex raspberry jam flavoring to get the raspberry jelly from this. So let's, again, I've had this before. Let's see how close I got to it. And this has been sitting now in the glass, even with me yammering here for 5 minutes. Probably been sitting in this glass for a good 15 minutes, so it's warmed up a little bit. And man, the aroma is all peanut butter and jelly, which is what I was after with this. I'm definitely getting that peanut butter aroma from the PB2. It doesn't quite smell artificial. I know it is because it's PB2, it's powder, but it does smell like a good spoonful of peanut butter is in here. And the jelly is probably neck and neck with it in the aroma. Definitely getting a really nice raspberry jam, raspberry puree, very sweet aroma from this, from the raspberry flavoring. So Apex did a really good job with the flavoring. At least in the aroma, it's really exactly what you expect. I think the aroma on this is probably, it's similar to the Catawba Brewing. I think theirs is a little bit more, I want to say it's a little bit more in your face as far as that goes. This is probably, I would say that the raspberry in this is probably a little bit more than the peanut butter. They're both certainly there, but the raspberry is taking front stage. And I am probably, I'm also getting a little bit of the graham cracker, which is interesting because I didn't actually put in the Carolina biscuit malt. I put in Victory, which is a biscuit type of malt. So that's probably where that's coming from. But yeah, it smells wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and for a taste. Cheers. It's amazing that we can do such things with beer. So it's all those aromas are definitely coming through on the flavor. And I haven't had this beer in probably a couple of weeks because I did try it again a couple of times. So I knew what to expect. But even after sitting in the keg for a little over 3 months, it's still really good. I think this is one of those beers that has gotten a little bit better with age, and that might be just because it's a brown ale, and those the darker beers tend to do better when they sit around for a little bit. When this was fresh, it was kind of weird, and I think maybe now that it's had some time to kind of congeal all the flavors in there, it's kind of coming into its own. That's a really neat beer. I don't know if I would brew this again. I just kind of wanted to see what it was like. And it's one of those beers that you can't drink a whole lot of them. It's kind of like a dessert beer, so it's one of those once in a while type of things. So unless I start sharing this, it's going to be around for a while. But yeah, in the taste, same kind of thing. Peanut butter, back seat, it's there, but it's definitely in the back. I wish I probably would have put, I wish I would have put more peanut butter in there. If I was to do the PB2 again, if I were to make this again, I did buy a 2-pound bucket of it, and I didn't know how much I was going to need, so I put a pound in to start with. I did it in the boil. So yeah, I think in hindsight, maybe a little bit more, or even I know Apex makes all kinds of flavorings, so I could maybe just add in a little bit of their peanut butter flavoring at the end, like I did with the raspberry jam when I kegged this. Maybe that would have helped the peanut butter stick around a little bit. But the raspberry jam flavor is definitely first in this beer. It has a little bit of, you can definitely taste the backbone of this, the brown ale base on this. I'm not getting, it doesn't have like any roasty malts in here. I mean, the closest thing to that is the Munich, and only a little bit of that chocolate rye. So I'm getting a little bit of that in the base of this beer for sure in the taste. It could probably be a little more balanced. Again, the raspberry jam, it's not like so sweet and so in your face, but it is definitely taking the front of this beer. Everything else about it is there for sure, but it's definitely second. So I think if I were to brew this again, I would probably just adjust some things to kind of make this a little bit more well-rounded. But it's not bad. It's a decent beer. It's really interesting. It came out to 5.6% according to my records. Yeah, kegged it on July 22nd. So yeah, it's a little over 3 months here. But yeah, it was a fun beer to do. I'm definitely going to try to do more beers like this, kind of pepper them into some of the more normal rotations that I brew. But yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah, so we'll see you guys on the next video. I'm going to cut it here, I think. That's probably enough of this. And probably the next videos that you see from me, I do have a grain to glass that I want to put together for my ginger wheat. I also brewed that in the same kind of time frame as this beer. I think I brewed that one maybe in August. That one certainly is done as well, so I'm going to put together a video on that here probably soon. And you can expect the experiment beers. They've been sitting in the fridge. I definitely want to get my shelf back in there. So I'll get those going as well. So until then, we'll see you guys. Have a good night and cheers.